Blog Talk Radio.
Winston-Salem, it's Sunday Night Dead.
With the orbs once again. Welcome everybody to Sunday Night Dead. This is Matthew Slizzer from Automoon Paranormal in beautiful Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This is going to be, at least for me, the New Year's show, so Happy New Year everyone, because I missed last week's show last minute. The orbs did some sabotage on my end, so I have to thank my co-host Tracy Todd for covering there. But before we get there, I also have to say, if anyone listened to the Christmas show, you know that we had orbs, we had a huge Christmas party here with everybody, and the leprechauns showed up. And if you remember from the St. Patrick's Day show, when leprechauns show up, they tend to not leave. And so even though we're 2 weeks after Christmas, the leprechauns are still here. So and they're kind of hanging out in the studio tonight. So hey, Mr. Leprechaun.
Hello, Matthew. Happy New Year to you.
Hello, Leprechaun. Happy New Year to you as well. What's your New Year's resolution this year?
Well, Matty, I'm only going to drink in days with a letter Y.
Sounds good, sir. Well, you enjoy yourself. Have a very happy New Year and a great 2014.
You yourself, Matty.
So it's always interesting when we have leprechauns kind of drunk over in the corner of the studio, but things should go very well tonight as long as we can avoid any orb problems. With me tonight, my co-host from Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts, Mr. Tracy Todd. How you doing tonight?
I am good, Matt. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. Good to be back, I have to say. And for everyone out there, I got to apologize to Tracy here. He really did a great job. I got kind of thrown into the fire last week because it was very close to the show airing when I could not be on the show. And so great job kind of holding down the fort and running things. And I know because I've been there before, it's a little stressful. So good job.
A little?
Well, I have to say, the worst one I had to do was we did a show long ago on zombies, and there were supposed to be, I believe it was 5 guests that were supposed to call in, and we only had one call in. And so we had the discussion go as long as we could, and then there was still a half hour left in the show, and the guest had to leave, and no callers, and so now in hindsight I probably would have just ended the show early, but I decided to go ahead and just kind of monologue for 30 minutes, and that was interesting. I felt kind of like I was doing a filibuster, just kind of randomly talking here. But people stayed in the chat, and so I guess it was entertaining enough. And also that was very early in our history here, and I'm still here. So
yeah, I got to thank George. He stepped in last week and helped out quite a bit. I appreciate that.
Well, he's also thinking that maybe I'm the one drinking, not the leprechauns, but. No, it's an interesting thing here in the studio here. We got Vincent, we got the orbs that show up every once in a while, the leprechauns, all different kind of promos from various creepy things. So it's just how things go here. Also, I hope everyone stays warm. Huge cold blast, I guess coldest air in about 20 years, heading pretty much everybody's way. It's in the Midwest right now, but it's going to hit all the way down to Georgia's neck of the woods. I saw that they're going to have below freezing and or close to freeze warnings down there in Florida. We're going to get down to, I think it's 5 tomorrow night, which for this part of the country, at least since I've been here, seems very rare. I mean, we really get into the low teens, so 5 with like a negative 11 wind chill is going to be something else around here. But without any further delay, let me bring on our guest tonight, psychic medium and a good friend of the Dead Air family shows here, Tracy Ray. Hello.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Tracy.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Fantastic, actually.
Very good. Did you get cold down there yet? Are you guys supposed to get any of this?
Well, I'm in Alabama, so right now, and it's pretty cold. We've had some snow here and there. But it didn't stick, which is a good thing because I don't like snow. But no, the weather's been fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just keep hearing it's been all that's been in the news is this blast that's kind of heading everybody's way, and so also saw
I
all
hadn't
the.
hit here yet. I'm not looking forward to it if it is.
Yeah, it's supposed to get to us tomorrow night. Tracy, I'm assuming it's going to hit, if it's going to get down to Georgia, I'm assuming it's hitting you too. When is it supposed to get down to you?
Well, right now, let's see, sitting on the porch, it is 67 degrees. By tomorrow morning, they're saying it's supposed to be, well, the highs tomorrow only supposed to be 42.
Wow. Yeah, I think we're supposed to drop from like the mid-30s tomorrow night down to like 7, and like during the range of it's when I'm going to have my daughter at violin, so it'll be nice to have to deal with all that. But anyway, that is for next week. So, Tracy, you have some very interesting things I want to talk to you about, but I always kind of kick off these shows with our guests by just having you just fill us in as to how you got involved in this topic and area in the first place.
Well, it started out when I was 6 years old when I had my first experience. I was at my grandmother's house and saw my grandfather, which I didn't know was my grandfather because he died 6 years before I was born. I never knew him. And they never talked about him. And he came to me and tapped me on the shoulder and told me to tell my grandmother that he's sorry that he got her to smoke. And, of course, I didn't know what that meant, so a book fell off the bookshelf that I was sitting at, and I put it back when I turned around. He was gone. And I went to go tell my grandmother, and I said, some man named Jesse said he's sorry he got you to smoke. And she started to cry. And she asked me, she goes, who told you that? I said, that man in the back bedroom. So, of course, she pulls me back there, and there's no man there. And I told her, he's gone. And so she pulls me back to the living room, and she sets me down on her knee, and she said, I want to tell you a story. I said, okay. And she said, I was married to a man named Jesse, and he died 5 years before you were born, and he died in that back room. He had cancer, and he was so sick he couldn't light a cigarette. So she would light a cigarette, take the first drag, and hand it to him. And that's how my grandmother started to smoke. And he hated it. He didn't want her smoking at all. And, of course, she asked me, did he say anything else? And I said no, and I hope to God he don't come back. Because it's right then I knew. I seen something that I wasn't supposed to be seeing, And being 6 years old, I'm thinking, what the heck did I really, really just see? So after that, I ran back through the kitchen, and I was going to go back to the back room, and I turned around and went back to my grandmother. I said, no, I'm not going to go back there anymore. And then other things started happening. At age 7, I had a lady that, which is my guide. She would talk to me in my closet. I had 2 walk-in closets when I was little, and I had one to where I played in, and my other one was really my closet, telling me that I had a sister and that she died for a reason, and that I am never in any lifetime, in any life that I live, I will never have a sister. And I said, no, I don't have a sister. She said, yes, you did. She goes, go ask your mom. So at age 7, I'm going to my mother, asking her if do I have a sister? Did you have another daughter? And then she starts to cry. And I'm like, good Lord, what am I doing? I'm making all these people cry, And so she pulls me to the closet. She brings out a little shoebox, and there's a picture of a grave. And her name was Karen Louise Ray. She was born June 20th, 1966, which was 2 years before I was born. So I did have a sister. So now I'm thinking, I have this lady that's talking to me in my closet that is really telling me things that has really, really happened. I need to listen. So I started listening. And she would show me things. She would tell me things. Sometimes she'd bring other people with her. And then my abilities just kept getting stronger. At age 9, I found out I was an empath. I found out that when I went to the family graveyard and hovered over a grave and knew how she died. I felt it was a little girl. She died at 4 years old, and my skin is burning like I'm on fire. And my grandmother noticed it, and she came up to me, and she said, what are you doing? I said, this little girl died in a fire, and she was young, like little. And she said, yeah, that was my sister. And that's when everything started getting a little weird when I was 9. My grandmother always told me never to tell anyone, so I didn't. I kept my abilities hidden for 39 years. I just came out of the closet 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I used my abilities, but I never outed myself. I would help friends. I would help relatives. I would help whoever I could, even people I didn't know. If I felt like I needed to tell them something that would help, I did. And that's the way I've always been. And then something happened. My grandmother told me that, my parents didn't even know about my abilities. My grandmother was the only person that knew. And she told me, Tracy, there's going to be a day that something's going to happen, and you'll know when that day is, and you're going to be able to tell the world. You'll be able to help people the way you want to. Because it bugged me I couldn't help people the way I want to. My grandmother, she was afraid that the CIA was going to get me because in 1968, and this I didn't know at the time, but I know now after people told me, I kind of put two and two together and I understand what she meant. She said, Tracy, don't tell anyone. The CIA, people will get you, if you start showing your abilities, because back then they had the Stargate thing that they were doing with the CIA, the government, and where they were bringing in psychic and mediums to remote view, which I can do.
Okay.
So she was totally afraid that I would leave. Well, back then I didn't know what that meant, So now I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's exactly what she was talking about, because it was 1968 to 72, but I was born in 68, so I was little, but they kept, they kept getting people to come in. So anyway, I had a situation that came up 3 years ago, and I needed help with it, and I needed validation and confirmation, and I really didn't know what to do. It took me about 9 months to figure out what to do with this. And then all of a sudden I see that there's going to be a paranormal convention in the town I live in, which was in Beaumont, Texas. So I went. I've never been to one. I've never been to a psychic, never been to a medium, never had to. And I said, wow, what am I going to do? And I knew I had to go by myself because nobody knew. So I had to go by myself. So I went by myself, and the first person I ran into was Christopher Moon. And I played dumb. I did. I pretended like I didn't know anything, about what was going on with myself. So he said, we were standing in line getting ready to eat, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and he goes, do you know why you have children around you? And I'm like, I played dumb. I said, I do. I knew I had 3, and I knew it was 2 girls and 1 boy. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you have 2 girls and a boy, and, yeah, you need to come by my table. We need to talk. I said, okay. So that right there gave me a little bit of confirmation that, yeah, he knew what he was talking about. And then I met David Roundtree, and I talked to him for a long time. And, the only way I told him the only way I would come out is if there's a way that I can be tested. I want to be tested. I want to know why I get the information I get. Why do I feel the things I feel? Why do I see the things I see? And that's what he's trying to do right now. And so I bought his book, and he wrote in it, get off the couch and do it. And that gave me the strength to do what I needed to do. And through him, he has helped me in many ways, and I'm very grateful for that. We've done several experiments on several, things, and which we can get into later if you want. But I had a little girl that came to me that had been murdered, and I knew where her body was. And that was the big thing and I had never had that before. When I run into people, yeah, I get people that have passed over that comes forward, but I've never had them just show up at my house, unannounced and, freaking me out. She would yell mama and tam tam in the middle of the, morning at around between 2 and 5. She would yell for Tammy, tam tam, Tammy. And she showed me everything that happened to her, and, that case I'm still working on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a very traumatic case. It's going to take, I can't really get into it because of what is involved. I can't talk about it right now. So, but that's the case that brought me out.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very interesting and totally understandable, and not being able to elaborate on that. Couple quick questions on this. Always curious, when you see people, when people come forward, how do they look? I know, movies and everything always portray things differently. You know, do they look
yeah. They don't look scary. I had mentioned this to Keith last night. I'm like, when I see spirits, I don't see them like they show on TV. You know, they're not ugly they're not ugly creatures. They're not, they're not mangled or bleeding or anything like that. They're actually almost like light, like energy. They kind of have features. Some do, some don't. And sometimes when they come, sometimes I don't always see them. Most of the things that, whenever they come forward, I just feel the energy. I know they're there. And then they're sending me messages that I'm getting, and I'm just relating the messages. And I don't know if the messages are true or not. I'm just saying what I'm getting. And through validation, that's the only way I know that I'm telling them the truth, because I don't know.
Right.
You know?
That makes a lot of sense, and this ties right into what my second question was. I'm always curious about this, and what's been interesting is we've talked to people on the show that have abilities such as your own. What I found interesting is people describe it differently, how they receive the information. So I was just kind of curious on this. You already said some of this. I don't know if there's any more to this, but when you're getting, whether it's the feelings or getting this information, or anything with using your ability, how exactly does that manifest itself? How do you perceive that? Is it like, if it's a little girl, is it a little girl's voice that you're hearing, or how does that work?
Yeah, it kind of works that way. Sometimes when they manifest, I have had them manifest like adults in children form, but they usually tell me why. They don't. It really depends on the situation and who is there that they want to talk to, and they show me themselves by what I need to explain to them, what they will get, and say, yes, that's who it is. But I mean, when I was younger, I saw a lot more, like apparitions and stuff. Now it's more energy and just visual things that I see. Like, it's almost like a TV show in my head.
Okay.
Like I'm watching a movie or something. And it's usually quick. It's real quick.
Now, I know.
But I'm remembering all of it. It's kind of weird how I remember so much in just a few seconds. It's like I'm seeing a part of their life just in a matter of seconds. That's how quick it is. But it all registers. It's crazy.
A little follow-up on this, because you used a phrase that I've also heard, not that I'm necessarily an avid watcher of any particular show, but I've seen the Long Island show, and she mentioned the same thing you said about people stepping forward when she meets someone. So how does that, so you meet someone just in your regular comings and goings, and you just meet this person, and some entity related to, or spirit related to that person comes forward and starts giving you information. How does that, do you see them, or does it just, do you see that energy?
No, not all the time. No, not all the time. No, not always. And see, that's the thing. What you see with Long Island mediums, and this is just my theory on this, see really how it goes on. Like, like with me, if I'm in a group of people and I'm getting a message, I'm trying to figure out who it goes to, because I don't know. So I'm having to look and listen and get near them, walk around, and try and figure it out, I do not like doing gallery readings because let me just put it to you this way. I want everybody to get a chance. I want to read everybody. And I don't think it's fair that people don't get read.
Gotcha.
So I'm more one-on-one. I like to do private readings. I might do a reading for a family, but that's it. I don't know. I just think gallery readings are, I don't know, I just won't do them. I will do them if there's like 15 so I can read everybody. But if it's a whole bunch of people, no. I can't see myself doing it because I feel bad. See, I don't charge for my readings, so if somebody came in a gallery reading and paid $40 for a gallery and didn't get read, I would feel so guilty.
That makes sense.
So,
I mean,
yeah, so I can't do it.
Absolutely, and we're gonna get to some things around that as we go through tonight as well. But and I gotta specify this. So this would be Tracy Todd. You I believe you had a question.
Tracy, first of all, Tracy, I love the accent.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm trying real hard not to be real country now.
No, I understand every word you're saying.
Yeah,
Oh, good, okay.
same here. I'm originally from Philly, but moved to North Carolina, and I actually love the Southern accent, so fine with me too.
Thank you.
Along Matt's line of questioning there, when let's just say you're going to go out to a dinner party, you know, you and a group of your friends are going to all get together, going to go to a restaurant that holds 70, 80 people. How do you prepare yourself for something like that? Do you?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I totally believe in crystals and stones and, you know, ways that I can protect myself. Does it help all the time? No. You know, when certain situations like that come up, I do try and meditate and get myself to those moments. I haven't been doing it lately, which is a bad no-no, but I just haven't had time to do it. But I had an incident. We went to Ruby Falls last week, and we went on the tour to see the fall in the cave, and there were so many people. And I did not prepare myself. I did not have my rocks and stones on me. I mean, I did a terrible no-no. And we got right to the falls, and when I hit the water, when I seen the water, the energy, just everybody started coming through, and I got sick and had to run out. I had to run out of the whole tour because I didn't prepare myself. But it will make me sick. Sometimes I just have to get up and leave.
Right.
If it gets too bad.
Well,
I try not to read anybody when I'm out and about, but there has been occasions where I have.
Right. Are there certain locations that you try to stay away from, or certain situations?
Yeah, all. No. I love being at home. I'm just going to tell you now. Yeah, there's a lot of situations that I really try to avoid, but I know that I can't. Like, you know, when I'm going to the conventions and stuff, sometimes that gets even a little hectic. But, you know, the stones do help me. I do have a way that I do protect myself. But there are some times where, you know, little things get through.
Right. So in your, as far as you're concerned, how far along do you think you are in your abilities?
Well, I really don't know how to answer that because I don't have, you know, what's the range? Who's to say what's, you know, how far along is what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I guess my question should have been was, what is your ultimate goal with it?
Well, what I'm trying to do is help others that have abilities, teach them how to, you know, cope and enhance, you know, their abilities, and just learn how to work with them and not be afraid of them. And also, you know, to teach parents that have kids with abilities, you know, to help them and not look at them like they're crazy, you know. I have grandchildren now, so my grandson he's also gifted, and I told my daughter, I'm like, do not tell him that if he sees an imaginary friend, or if he tells you he's seeing someone, don't tell him it's not there, because he's really seeing it, you know.
Right.
So I really want to get that across to parents that do have abilities, and, you know, help them, the child also. So.
Okay, great.
I'm more in this in helping people adapt and learn. I'm not in this, and I don't disrespect those that charge or anything. I don't, because I have many psychic friends out there. I just choose not to charge because it's what I was told to do through my guides. And plus I feel guilty. You know, this is my gift. It's my gift. And it's my gift to you. And then I'm compensated in other ways. I've been rewarded many times for the things that I've done.
Right.
And no money can take away that. I mean, money couldn't even come close to things that I have been rewarded with. So
Right.
I keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, we hope you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
All right, thanks.
I just a question, and this is just something that just kind of came into my head as we were talking here, so I'm just kind of curious. Have you ever had a situation where, I'm going to try to describe this, so hopefully I can describe this right. Let's say, you know, some spirit comes forward or some energy comes forward communicating to you that just has animosity towards somebody maybe that you just met, or somebody like we do the dinner party, so somebody that's sitting at your, you know, table or nearby, and is just tries to pepper you with negative information about this person, just, you know, whether it's legitimate or whether this person just has a gripe and is just, you know, totally slandering someone. Do you have that happen at all? Do you get...
Yeah. Yes, I do.
People come forward
I do
with,
have that. Yeah, they do. And I'll tell you something else. When people want a reading, they expect certain answers. Like, they have questions they want to ask. But, you know, I have no control over what the message is. What comes through, and I have no control over it. You know, if a guy is wanting to know where the key is to the lock to the safe, and I ask the man, but the man is pissed off at him, he's not going to tell me. He's going to want an apology for this, and this, because I've had this happen. And the guy actually got upset and walked off. He didn't want to hear it. If I know, and I'll tell you this too, if I feel that if someone came up to me wanting a reading, and I already feel that negative energy, I will not read them. I will say, no, I can't read you. Because they're not ready to hear what I have to say, and it would be a waste of their money and my time.
Okay.
So I choose not to read that type of energy at all.
Yeah, I always wondered about that because, you know, it's because no one necessarily knows you're getting the information, and so I got to figure that's got to be relatively distracting. I'm sure you learn ways to block it out. If someone like whispering in your ear, or, you know, bad stuff about somebody.
You can't always block it out, you know. I mean, it's like when we were eating at a restaurant not too long ago. There was a lady in there where her son had passed, and things were coming through. And I have a technique that I do when I'm at a place and I know someone needs a message. I will write everything down on a piece of paper before I even talk to the person. And everything that I get from that person, I write it down. Well, the time comes that the person needs the message, I let them know, and they're usually freaked out because they're like, how do you know this? And I'm like, well, I said, I don't know. It just comes to me. And then I showed them the piece of paper to prove that, you know, I did get the information before I even discussed anything with anybody. It's actually whenever I go on location, I do the same thing. If I'm doing an investigation, I get out my iPad, I put it on notes, and I write down everything I get before I even get out of the vehicle. I start getting information about the land, what happened on outside of the property, And when I go inside, I just start writing it all down. And then I start getting everything validated by the people that either know about the place or whatever. I don't want to know anything, nothing about property when I investigate, because it's almost like a high to me when I get validated. It's like the best feeling in the world when you know that you're actually getting stuff and you really don't know where it comes from. It even fascinates me still today, and I've been doing it for, 39 years. And I still get blown away sometimes with the information I get. Because I actually go into I go into a different, I hate to say a different world, but it just flows. And then you just snap out of it and you're back, It's really kind of hard to explain how I feel whenever I'm doing it.
Well, I have a ton of questions here, but we have, I believe I know who this is. I'm kind of learning area codes here, but I won't make an assumption here. We have a caller here, so
okay.
Sunday Night Dead, area code 201. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I just started listening, and I forgot that I pressed 1.
Okay, so listen. That's
sorry.
no problem at all. And actually, I apologize. I thought you were someone else. That's why I don't make assumptions. So
okay.
No problem.
Sorry.
We'll let you listen in. And
sometimes I think that I'm on the radio show and they'll say 201 and it's somebody else, so I gotcha.
All right, no problem.
Sorry.
Well, I'll go ahead. And this is not to put you on the spot at all, Tracy. But I'll just kind of throw this out. 'Cause if you get anything, I'd be curious. This has been a discussion point on our show multiple times. So Tracy Todd can vouch for me on this. That I've talked about, and I don't claim any abilities, but one of the things that I found very odd is, and the more I investigate, the more I wonder if there's something to this, is about once or twice a year, I'd say, on it, I will wake up and there'll be someone standing in the room. It's just a very odd thing, and I don't recognize the people or anything. And when I went to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum the first time, I have several recordings of a little girl. It just so happened that first week I was back, I woke up on 3 different occasions, saw the same girl in the room. As it turns out, on most investigations I go on, I end up getting recordings of a little girl. So just me, again, kind of learning, and that's kind of I view myself in here. I do research in here, but I'm just almost like a data gatherer. I'm just trying to, see what kind of patterns stick and things along those lines. So I've been curious. I've started to wonder as I keep doing these investigations, is the little girl with me as opposed to in these locations, as I tend to get a very high affinity of
Now, has she told you
little
her
girl
name?
EVPs? No. And there's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing I can find in the EVPs that link that it's necessarily the same girl. So it's either one of two things. Either for some reason when I go to locations, children, mostly girl children, try to communicate with me, or there's one around me.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you now. Do you have children now? 3?
I have 5.
You have 5. Okay. How many does the other guy have? Does he have any?
Tracy, how many kids? Do you have any children, Tracy?
3. Huh?
Tracy? Oh,
Yeah.
Are you there, Tracy?
I'm
sorry.
here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Tracy Todd, how many? Did you have children? I've never asked you this.
All my children are up and gone, but I do have them, and I have a grandchild.
No. How many? How many do you have?
I have one stepdaughter, one grandchild, and my other stepson has passed away.
Okay.
And I'll add on my end, I don't know if this is significant or not, I have quadruplets. That's kind of my little curiosity thing here. But I have 3 girls and 2 boys.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, with me, children are very attached to me also. So everywhere I go, I usually get children too. And sometimes they usually sound the same. You know, children usually does sound the same. So, you know, you might have one. I would have to see you and be around you to see. You know, that pictures help. I mean, when somebody sends me a picture, that helps tremendously with me because it's less energy. You know, it don't take away, it don't drain me as much, and I try and do stuff where it's more beneficial for me also, so I don't get sick, because doing readings, I can do one and be in bed for 3 days.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because see, people don't know that when we're communicating, the energy is actually coming to us, around us. And sometimes that can wipe out our biofield, and then they're just on top of us, kind of, you know. And it's quite draining. I had one, and it's not necessarily that it was a bad reading or evil spirits was around or it was negativity, none of that. I had a lady that I've read several times. I read her 2 times prior to this last reading that I did for her, and just somebody else came through, and I was in bed for a few days. But then I called someone, and they told me to touch the screw on the outlet because that was ground, and to pull that energy off, and it worked. So now whenever I get energy that's like weighted on me and I feel like that I can't really get up out of bed, I have these little bands that I use that you can plug up to the screw on the outlet. A lot of people that work with radios and stuff use them. I forgot what they're called.
Okay.
But that works.
Yeah. Little grounding thing.
Yeah, there's a little grounding thing. I have a psychic medium support group on Facebook, and we've had all of them try it, and they all state it works, and so I keep doing it.
Oh, wow. And I didn't mean to, again, there was no intent to put you on the spot. It's just we talk about it on the show now and then, so I figured
I know.
We might as well bring it up.
Just by hearing your voice, I can, and because you have so many children, it would not surprise me one bit that a child would latch onto you, and you carry it around. Yeah, would not surprise me one bit.
Interesting. Well, I also kind of was curious about this. Again, I know they do it all for. Oh, hang on. I'm going to jump to the question in the chat room here. Tracy, do you ever get overwhelmed emotionally, like sadness, and just kind of overwhelmed by?
Yes.
You said you had the empath things as well.
Yeah, I do. There's sometimes I'll get a message and I'll just break down and cry. Even when I'm on an investigation, and being an empath and feeling things, I can actually feel how they died. And sometimes it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant one bit. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. If you can Google my name, and I've done investigations. I did the Tilly case where Tilly was murdered in the 1800s, and it's all on film how I react when stuff comes through, and it's pretty. People say it's you have to keep looking at it. You can't walk away because it's so dramatic. But I can't help it because it's the way that I see things. And I see it and I tell it the way that it's shown to me. So yes, I do. I've cried many times on things.
That kind of leads into what I was going to ask, and I guess there's a couple angles on this, but we were talking earlier about how shows and movies, portray it to be, a lot more creepier. It's the person with the all big black rings around the eyes and things, or somebody with, half their head gone and stuff talking. But anything that happens that, I don't know how to phrase this. Any particularly creepy experiences? Like you say, you see things in, it's kind of like almost like a TV show. So, I mean, how often do you get things that are, that do kind of scare you or startle you? And
you know what?
How many things stay with you? Because I got to imagine, much like EMTs or things that come across these accidents, one reason why I could never do that is just the way my imagination is. Those scenes would never leave me, kind of deal. And so I was just kind of curious about how you deal with that.
You tell them. Well, for one, you have to tell them to leave. You can't tell them that they can just latch on and no. When I go into places, I say a protective prayer and I let them know, no, you got to stay. You can't come with me. But wait, what was the first question? I forgot it.
Oh, just the kind of scarier.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
okay.
More or less scary
thing. Honestly, I've really never been scared, and I'll tell you why. I've had this go on since I was 6. It's been in my life, all the time. Now, if this would have happened when I was like maybe 18, it probably would have scared me to death. But there's really nothing that I'm scared of. I have not been scared yet. People ask me all the time, oh, have you seen a demon? Have you been around evil? Well, I can't distinguish if evil is negativity or because I really don't know yet. I don't think I've seen a demon, honestly, because I feel that if I did, I'd know it. And I think a lot of people that see things that are evil, it's just negative energy. People that are mad because they passed over or they didn't get to say what they needed to say. They're just mean spirits. But I have not been scared.
I haven't.
Scares me. I'm serious.
That's good to know. I know Tracy Todd's got a question too. I just want to do one quick follow up here, and then
okay.
You're generating. We'll never cover anywhere close to what I was going to ask, because this is just generating questions as we go here. But you've never seen, or as far as you know, something that you would consider a demon. But I'm curious, have you encountered anything? I'm not saying necessarily evil, good, but have you encountered anything that you would consider not a human-based spirit?
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah.
How does that come across, or what was your perception of whatever those things were, if you can talk? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, if you can tell us.
Well, for one, 2 of them were my guides. They are not human. Okay. Because I have 6 guides, and I know exactly where they stand around me. And 2 of them are not human. One looks like a dog, and the other one looks like a bird, kind of bird head. They're walking on 2 legs, but their bodies are not human. So, but I'm not scared of them because they're my guides.
Okay.
But as far as seeing other things, no. I mean, I know I'm truly protected. I'm getting ready to write a book because there's a lot of things that I would love to get into on the radio, but it would take up way too much time. I mean, as far as talking about my one guide, who she is, and me finding out who she is for real, because I didn't know that my guide was really someone, in this world. I really didn't think, it was like that. And it's kind of an unbelievable story. It's really unbelievable. People aren't going to believe it, but it is a true story. It's really real. We'll have to get in that on another show. We'll talk about my guides and how it all and who they are and what I believe is going to happen and the way that things are going to be. So we'll have to do that another time.
We'll set up after the show. We'll set up a time. We'll do a show on specifically on the spirit guide things with you on it when you're available.
That'd be great.
We'll go ahead and get that set up. Tracy, I'm sorry. See, I knew I was going to do this. Tracy Todd, my co-host. And I knew Tracy had a question as well.
Yeah, when you guys, Tracy, when you were saying when you, I don't remember what vehicle you said, but anyway, you said you take out your iPad and you immediately start writing down things before you even get out of your vehicle. Has there been an instance to where you arrived on scene, whichever property it was, maybe you were with a paranormal group or whatever, and you just got this very, very bad feeling that, you know, maybe perhaps that night's not the night to go in there because of, you know, something in there's got bad energy or whatever the case may be. Have you ever run into that, and what did you do?
Yes, I have. I've had several locations like that. If I do not adapt well to women that have been murdered and raped. I will not go in the room at all. I will either remote view and do it that way, or I will stand just as far away as I can to not go in. I don't adapt well with that at all. Or children, you know, being murdered. I had one incident. This was at the Shanley Hotel in New York. Great place to go. Loved it. Very active. As soon as the wheel drove on the property, I was getting stuff. And we parked kind of in the back there. And I had a little boy just looking at me in the window, telling me not to get out of the vehicle. So I didn't. I sat in the vehicle. So I'm writing down all this stuff. He's telling me his name. He's telling me what his father did and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm writing it all down. And they're like, are you going to get out of the car? I'm like, I can't. The little boy told me not to. Well, then he finally said that I could get out, so I got out of the car. Well, come to find out later on, because I had never even known about the Shanley, or I didn't even know that's where we were going or nothing. And I finally got confirmation that there was a little boy named Jonathan, and the father was a doctor, and he was leaving the property and didn't know his son was outside playing, and he ran over him. He had broke his back, and I put all that down before I even got out of the car, and I was correct on it. But things like that, but I wasn't scared, you know. There was, I wasn't scared at all at that place. Now, there has been some locations that I have been a little, and I don't even say scared. It's more of a feeling of, I get angry, and my body goes into shaking. Like, I start shaking. It's like I want to fight back when I see those things. Like, if I see a lady, getting beat up and murdered, I want to fight back. Like, I want to hop in there and do something about it. But I can't. I just can't do it. Because after seeing what happens to them, now if they die, they get killed, that's the part that I can't deal with. I break down every time.
Right. Well, I can definitely understand that. But let's just say, next weekend, say a local group calls you up and say, hey, Tracy Ray, can you go with us to this house? And you say, sure, I'll go. So you go, and you show up on the doorstep, and you just get this really, really bad feeling. Not necessarily seeing anything, but you really, really get this bad feeling. Do you inform them, say, hey, let's not do this now?
Yeah, I don't say let's not do this now. I usually let them go through, but I will stay outside and remote. I will remote view from it. If there's a place where I feel like I don't need to go inside, I will not go inside. I know some places, like asylums, like military wards, mental wards and stuff like that, it's hard for me to go through places like that. Prisons are hard. Houses, I usually don't have a problem. Hospitals, I usually, just general hospitals. Sometimes I do have a problem with those, but I can tell when I'm getting that feeling, and I know to, don't go in that area. But I won't stop an investigation just because I can't, I can't go in, because I can still do stuff from the outside.
Right. Cool.
Interesting. Well, Todd's got a question, but we're going to do that after our break here, because as usual, I have to go get a refill on my drink, or you won't be hearing me talk anymore. And so this is a week late, but we have some traditions here on Sunday Night Dead for New Year's, and our break song for New Year's is always our tribute to, meant in a good way, of anyone that passed on in 2013. So you usually see at the end of the year they do those little lists of people that have gone. So here's our Sunday Night Dead tribute, and we will be back shortly. You were listening to Sunday Night Dead with our guest tonight, Tracy Ray.
He was 12 years old, fell from the roof on East 29. Kathy was 11 when she pulled the plug, 26 reds and a bottle of wine. Bobby got leukemia, 14 years old, he looked like 55 when he died. He was a friend of mine. Those are people who died. 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 They were all my friends, they just died. Churchy let the gimmicks go rotten, so they died of hepatitis in upper Manhattan. Flying in Vietnam, bullet in the head. Bobby OD'd on Drano on the night that he was wet. They were two more friends of mine, two more friends that died. Those are people who 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 died. They were all my friends, and they died. Mary took a drive out from a hotel room. Bobby hung himself from a cell in the twos. Judy jumped in front of a subway train. Eddie got split in the jugular vein. And Eddie, I miss you more than all the others. And I salute you, brother. Those are people who died. 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 All my friends are waiting to die. Herbie pushed Tony from the boys club roof. Tony thought that his rage was just some goof, but Herbie sure gave Tony some bitchin' proof. And Herbie said, Tony, can you fly? But Tony couldn't fly. Tony died. Those are people who 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 died. They're all my friends, and they died. Brian got busted on a narco rap. He beat the rap by ratting on some bikers. He said, hey, I know it's dangerous, but it sure beats Rikers. But the next day, he got offed by the very same biker. Those are people who died. 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 All my friends are when they died. Teddy Stiffen Clue, he was 12 years old, fell from the roof on East 29. Kathy was 11 when she pulled the plug on 26 reds and a bottle of wine. Bobby got leukemia, 14 years old, looked like 65 when he died. He was a friend of mine. All the people who died. 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 They're all my friends, and when they died. Cheeseburger and Georgie let the gimmicks go rotten. They died of hepatitis in upper Manhattan.
We're listening to Sunday Night Dead. I'm right behind you.
Actually, no, you're behind the leprechaun, but we're all back. Tracy, are you here with me?
That is the creepiest thing.
That's my favorite one.
What I missed?
We have a whole number of promos here, and that is my favorite promo, the roommate promo. And I remember Sharon Coyle the first time I played that, because that was one of the first promos we recorded. She was like, "You're not right," because it's a little. Well, here, hang on. If you missed it, Tracy, it's only like 15 seconds. So.
No, I heard that.
Oh, okay, that's what you missed. All righty. So one of the questions. Hang on. Oh, that's okay. I get it. Just following the chat here. So the question from Todd was, you mentioned hospitals. He was asking, and Todd, feel free to clarify in the chat room if I mischaracterize this, but in a hospital, have you ever run into someone, if you're just in the hospital for visiting someone or just happen to be there, have you run across someone that has recently passed in that hospital, and kind of what was their state? Were they confused? Were they, I guess the first question is, did you run into anyone that recently passed when you were in a hospital?
I have. I try to stay out of hospitals when there's people in there, but I had to go in there when my mom was there. She was in there for about a week before she died. And yeah, I saw some things, and it's how can I put this? Are they confused? The ones that I saw, no, they weren't. It's like they knew exactly what they were doing. And it's not that I see all of them, because I can't. And I'll get into that too, my beliefs on, what we can see and what we can't see. But I just, the ones that I have witnessed, that I've seen, they knew exactly what to do. They weren't there long. Now, I will tell you this. When I was there, the ones that were of light had no problem. But the shadow figures, those were the ones that were more confused.
Okay.
The black shadows, those were the ones that were more confused. They didn't know what to do. I had a different energy with them than I did the ones that I could really see.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
How does that, kind of getting into the whole, like, how is it perceived in things, how does that difference in energy come across? Is it kind of like an emotion or feeling, or how does that difference? How do you perceive that difference? If I don't know.
I don't really. It's more of a jittery. Like it's almost like when you were a kid and someone would pick on you and want to fight you, and you have that like nervous feeling, that jumpy feeling inside. That's the kind of feeling I get with those types of shadow figures I see. Because,
oh, wow.
And no, they're not bad. I don't think they're bad, because I've communicated with some of them. Some maybe, but the ones that I have encountered, they're very confused. They're usually angry because they don't know what's going on, and they usually don't want to communicate. They don't usually mess with me, but they usually show me themselves,
That is very interesting. I guess kind of relate just to lead right into it then. How about your thoughts on what you were saying about what we can see and what we can't see? And
I can talk about that a little bit, because this is just my beliefs and the things that I think that has happened to me throughout my life. I do not feel, let's take me, this is all about me, the way that I feel. I was able to see my grandfather that passed away 5 years before I was born. I was able to see my great-great-grandmother. She taught me how to read. I would visit my grandfather's house, and there was a lady there in the back room every time I went, and she had the bluest eyes I ever seen, and she would teach me words. I was 7 years old, and she taught me how to read a sentence, and it had the word important in it. So I was so excited that I could read that long word. I went to my mom, and I said, let me read you this. So I read it to her, and she goes, how'd you know what that word was? I said, that lady back there in the bedroom told me. She goes, Tracy, there's not one back there. There's not a lady back there. I said, yes, there is. I said, she's here every time we come. She says, no, Tracy, there's not. So, of course, she went back there, and I'm looking. She's holding my hand. I'm looking at the bed, and there's the woman, but my mom can't see her. So I have to lie, and I tell my mom, okay, Mom, I'm just kidding, you know. I am able to see my family that passed on before I was born. My mom has died. My grandmother has died. And I cannot communicate with anybody that's passed on that I knew in this lifetime. But if I didn't know them, I can talk to them. And I'll tell you, I think the purpose of that is, if I could talk to my mom and grandma, I would never use my gift. I would be talking to them 24/7. I think God did not intend on it to be that way. I think He don't want you. He wants you. Let me just put it this way: it's a selfish act, and that's the way I look at it. Now, I don't feel I can. I know I can't read everybody, and when people tell me they can read everybody, it throws a red flag to me. Because if God intended it for me to read everybody, I would have never had kids. I would have never been married because I would have known everything. I don't think life is supposed to be that way. I think people come in our life for a reason. We meet people for a reason. I'm able to read people and give them messages for a reason. And those that I can't read are usually in my life. Usually. I know that there's something. If I run into a person that I can't read, then I know to keep an eye on that person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Totally understandable to me for what it's worth. We have a caller, so let's move right on to Sunday Night Dead. Who are we speaking with?
Hello. I'll give you two guesses.
Amy. I know who it is. What's up?
I wouldn't miss a chance to talk to you. Hi, George. Miss Shelley.
Oh, Shelley. Hey, I thought you were Amy. What's up, girl? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sitting at home. I saw you were on the radio, and I was like, I can't miss talking to George or Tracy. So
yeah.
I just had a couple questions for you. So I thought I'd, use this opportunity to ask you. So
Spill it, girl. Spill it.
Do it. You were talking just a little bit ago about shadow figures. And, I went out to my husband's place because of all the spiders in the house. My daughter and I, me and spiders, we spent the night in the car the first night. And we kept seeing shadow figures out on the land. And, it's like you look and you keep seeing people moving around.
Yeah, but isn't that a plantation home? It's a plantation home, right?
It's old. I mean, it's old. It's like his parents moved out there when they were, 60 years ago. You know, and it's out there in North Carolina, so, God only knows what all's out there. But, how in the world, Rachel, of course, freaks out because she keeps seeing them, too. And she said, Mom, there's somebody moving over there. Mom, there's somebody moving over there. And I'm just trying to reassure her that it's nobody. Don't worry about it. And so how in the world can you, Now
wait. I got a question for you. Okay. So you're seeing shadow figures out on the property, right?
Right. Okay. Out near the barn.
Now, have you seen a apparition or a spirit that was not a shadow figure in the house?
No, but I didn't really spend a whole lot of time there. I told you about the names.
Yeah, I know you did. I'm just trying to figure out, the difference in the energy that you're feeling, because I think we all feel different energy. Like, if we have like 5 psychic mediums, we're all not going to get the same thing. If we do, that's really odd. I know me and Amy have gotten a few things together when we've been on investigations, which kind of, blew our minds a little bit. But usually we won't get the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to figure out some of the stuff that you told me, and I mean, the lady, where was the lady? Did you see her, or did you just hear her, or was it just a dream?
I just heard her. Just heard her. And, her and George, I never did figure out who George was, but, and it's not you, George, but never did.
Poor George.
Poor George. But, picking on him. But the feeling that I got of the people moving around was more like I don't know if that was me, but it was more like a Indian or a Native American.
Well, that's what I told you in the beginning. That's what I said that it could be.
Right.
I would have to see the property again to tell you, because it's been so long since I've seen it. But I would definitely have to see the property again to let you know. But if it is Indians, they have a strong energy, and because you did hear drums. Did you hear drums, or am I getting that confused with another story?
No, I didn't really. Like I said, at that place, I didn't listen.
You need to bring your recorder, and you need to try and get some EVPs, because I guarantee you, if you do, you will get drums.
Yeah, because his folks, when I was trying to figure out who Maybell was, they were having a hissy fit about that. I can't imagine what they would do if I tried to do a ghost hunting session out there.
Yeah.
That would
be
fun.
We'll figure it out. I'll have to come out there one day, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but what other things would you recommend other than just setting up recorders or like have two?
You need to meditate and get your abilities going. And quit putting it off.
And I want to get somebody else out.
I'm just being honest, Shelley. I'm just being honest.
Oh, I know. I never listen to you though. But
I know, and then I'm always right usually. So you need to start listening.
I just keep thinking I need to get somebody else out there to verify. Because I don't like I told you a million times. I trust myself. Because,
well, you got to start where you got to start. So start with your recordings, and start with keeping your mind open and clear, and listen, and write down everything you get. I mean, if you're I don't care if you're getting a lamp and you're visualizing a lamp, write it down and write down what it looks like, because it could mean something. We don't know what the stuff that we get, we don't know what it means. I mean, I can have a vision in plain daylight and not know what it means, but about a month later I'll realize what it meant.
Yeah.
So key is keeping it in somewhere where you'll remember it.
Yeah, because
trust me, you'll find out stuff later on in a while.
I guess I'm doing the whole getting names off of people and, working on that, finding out whether they pass. And I'm finding more and more that that's turning out to be a really, an interesting experiment. So,
That's all it is. Everything that a psychic medium does is an experiment, because we don't know. We really don't.
I just don't understand. I don't understand it, but it's interesting. So, but
I mean, stuff that I relate. It's amazing, the stuff that I relate, and it's true. It fascinates me. And like I say, it's like a high.
Yeah, when you got your grandma's name. That was an interesting thing.
See, that's right. See, you got my grandmother. You got the name and everything. but you're still not believing that you're able to do what you do. But I've seen you do it, you know, and it's just that you're not wanting it in your life at this time, but it's going to happen. And I feel it's going to happen more when you move to North Carolina. So be prepared.
Yeah. I'm hoping, but, you know, got to get people to, you know, I think I have to accept it more, and I got to get his family to not think I'm a witch. Because they are backward.
No, hey, you do not care what anybody thinks of you. I could care less what anybody thinks of me. I'm going to be who I am, and that's just how it is. If someone has a problem with it, they can leave. You know.
Well, Shelley, I have to ask Shelley, where in North Carolina?
It's a little bitty old town called Clayton. It's like between, you know, just at the edge of nowhere. You know, it's not in nowhere, but you can see it from there. You know. It's like
I'm in Winston-Salem. That's why I was curious.
Yeah, it's like, you know, between Smithfield and Raleigh, like off Highway 70. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
all right.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, Primitive Baptist is real big in that area. And let me tell you something. There's a reason they call them primitive. Oh boy.
Well, I also right now want to bring in, because we also Amy has called in Tracy, so we have Shelley, Amy, Tracy Ray, and Tracy Todd. So I just got to try to remember to keep. So Amy, are you there?
I am.
Hey,
how y'all doing?
We doing good. How you been?
I wanted to join the party.
Come on.
Hi, Shelley. Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
Hello.
We've got everybody on here now.
Oh, yes.
It's a big party.
Oh, yes. Tracy's she's the fun of it all.
She's the center of it.
Well, I try to be.
There
I'm not
you go.
center of attention. Now, don't put me there, because I try and stay hidden. You know me. I don't like
Oh, goodness.
Well, I'm curious, Amy, because I ask everyone with abilities that. So I was just curious, how do you, because you have sensitive abilities, correct?
Yes.
Amy, yeah. How do you perceive when you get the information? How do you perceive it? Is it something I'm always curious about, and people describe it in different ways. So I was kind of curious, how would you describe when you get information, how you actually get that information?
Well, for me, I'm very clairaudient, so I can hear things. I can hear people talking. I can hear voices coming through. I get visions, which I like to explain to people. They're kind of like memories. So, like, if you can sit there and think about your mother's face, like, without even looking at her, that's kind of like that. Like, these visuals come through. They're really quick. They're real, sometimes faint, sometimes very vivid. Sometimes I get a lot of feelings, which I can, it's just an overwhelming feeling that I can't ignore. And it's really amazing on how, information comes to you, because sometimes you're not even expecting it. And you'll be near somebody and you'll start seeing like a man or a woman, and then they'll just start going crazy, just starting to show you stuff. And then you're just like, usually after the second time you see the same vision, you're like, okie dokie, I guess I got to do this.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Me and Amy have a lot in common. Yeah, we have a lot in common. We see things and kind of feel things the same way. When I met Amy, I met her at the Washington Hotel in Pennsylvania, where it was I spoke there, and it was crazy because the hotel had me so emotional. I was so emotional. I cried through my whole speech, and I've never done that before. And I know it was a hotel because of the stuff that went on there. But when we did the investigation on the third floor, Amy was in a different group, and she was writing down stuff and getting stuff, and I was writing down stuff. And then we compared notes, and our notes matched, which is very odd. It's very odd to get two psychic mediums in a location and have the same thing wrote down on their paper.
Yep. And it's only ever happened to me one other time. too.
And
It's
we
very
just
rare.
clicked, and we've been friends ever since. And we've actually done a lecture together at Parafest. We did a workshop for psychic mediums where, talking about our abilities and how to handle them and how to increase them and all that. And it turned out great.
It did.
So I'm ready to do some more.
Me too. I love it.
And, similar question to Shelley, because I've been able to pick up based on your conversation here with Tracy that you start to pick up things. So how do you receive the information?
For me,
Yes.
all I do, mostly I just pick up names and faces. I sense more than anything else. It's like I know there's someone there. I just know, and then occasionally I'll pick up.
Yeah, she's more of a knower. She's more of a knower, and she don't, once she knows it, she kind of shuts it off. When she sees and hears things or has dreams, she shuts it off right then. She don't let it flow, and that's, one of the things that I'm trying to get her to open up to do is to let it go. Don't let the world, the stuff that's in the world, get in the way. Just let it flow, and don't be afraid of it, and just let it happen.
George, you remember when we were doing that investigation in Fort Worth, right?
I don't think George is on the line, Shelley. I think he's just in the chat room.
Yeah, this is Matt.
Oh, this is Matt. Okay. I did an investigation in Fort Worth with George, and I don't remember what the name was. And with George and Matt, Michael Bowler, and one of the hotels out there, and it was just like walking this bathroom, and there's somebody in there, and you just know there's somebody in there. You don't know who it is. All I could tell is it's a woman, and there's somebody in there, and she don't want you in there, and so you leave. And that's basically the way I feel.
Okay.
Matt, you know how sometimes, like, if you're in a room and you just have this sense that somebody's watching you?
Yes.
Do you ever have that happen? Now,
I've had it happen enough times now where I've had recorders running and actually pick up voices that I always wonder now when, the hair goes up in the back of my neck when I'm in my basement or something. Is there somebody down there?
Yeah, like that's your intuition letting you know that you're sensing something that's there. Even though you can't see it, it's still there. But, a lot of the times people start getting really freaked out because they get this uneasy feeling, or they start to, they start to panic, or, oh my gosh, they get really nervous and start getting scared. So a lot of the times people don't start paying attention to their thoughts. And a lot because they're like, oh God, because they're just about, oh my goodness, what's there? I feel something, my body's reacting to what's going on. And, they start looking at the physical. But a lot of the times, next time if you have a feeling like that, if you could stop for a few seconds and, like, the thoughts that you're having to see if there may be some strange person that you've never seen before coming through your thought process, or if you smell something, or, those are your metasenses that are telling you that something's there, because mostly, spirit communicates with you telepathically. They come into they kind of come near you, or if you start feeling pressures on your face or on your arms or, on your chest, those are all indications that they're trying to let you know that they're there, depending on what kind of a spirit it is. But, I try to explain to a lot of people that, when we have MRIs done and when we have certain tests done, that we need this technology to do so. We have brain waves. We can't see them, but they're there. So a lot of the time that's our energy field too. There's a lot of things that are going on around us that we can't see, but it is there. And a lot of times, depending on the factors of the person, it depends on what they believe. It depends if they believe in themselves enough to know. And that's what I was going to say for Shelley. Like when, if you got it, it's there. And once you start getting the confidence enough to believe in your own process or yourself, that you're able, what's going on. You feel it, you know it, it's there. But a lot of times people are afraid of being wrong. And that's a big thing.
Yeah. And also, her ability started like later on in life. And when people have, when people have abilities after a near-death experience or an outer-body experience, it kind of freaks them out, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, that was mine.
And that's with Shelley. Shelley, she gets, she just don't know how to take things.
But I think that
and
once
plus
you
she wants that validation. She wants the validation of yeah, did I see that? Did I really hear that? Because we wonder.
Always.
Well, I had another quick. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, but once you become confident and once you start, once you start having those same experiences, those feelings, that knowing, it's something that should become. It should help to become a lot more easier, because I know Shelley has it. And a lot of the times people, it is hard for people to understand.
It is. Well, I tried to tell Shelley at one time, and I might have told her this. I've told many people this. Don't be afraid of being wrong. If you're it's like if you're at Walmart and and you're at the cashier, and you're getting information, start a conversation with her that would lead up to that question, because that's what I do. And if they look at you crazy, let them look at you crazy. At least you got your validation, or if you were wrong, you'll know you're wrong. And it meant the message was meant for someone else in Walmart. But don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try it.
Quick question on this then. How now I know if you feel the pressure or some of the things that Amy described, but outside of that is how would you? I mean, obviously you're all kind of have this skilled and refined by now, but how would you differentiate between, let's say, information that's coming in versus just a random thought? Like if all of a sudden I started thinking of apples, and with no real good reason why. I don't know. Do you need those other physical things in place, or like?
Well, sometimes you just don't know. If I'm getting a message and apples come through, then I'm gonna let that person know that apples came through, and if it means anything to them, they will let me know. You have to let them know everything that comes through, regardless if it's a thought, because that thought could be for them.
True. And you know what? God.
Remember that butcher block story?
The butcher block? Yeah, okay. You want me to tell that story?
I think that's totally appropriate.
Yeah, okay. It is, okay. I was doing a radio show here probably a year ago, and the people were at a psychic medium workshop, event. There were psychic and mediums everywhere, but some from Europe and the UK and everything. So we were doing a radio show, and the whole time I'm doing this show, I have a man standing by me, nudging me, stomping his foot, and showing me things. And I kept getting all these visions. He showed me a red tie. He showed me 6 red roses. He was dressed in a suit, and he had the shiniest shoes I ever seen. And the last thing he showed me was a butcher block. And I'm thinking, why the heck are you showing me a butcher block? Because I don't know what it means when they show me things. I don't know. I can't make sense out of it. That's up to the person that gets the message. So I have 15 minutes left on the show, and I'm getting antsy, and so is this man. This man is getting antsy as heck. So I type in the chat room, because the other person that was talking, you can't get a word in edgewise, so I typed it in the chat room. Does anybody know a Kevin or a Calvin? And then the host finally said, "Oh, Tracy, we'll get back to that. Let's take a break, and we'll see what you mean." So we came back, and I said, "Okay." I said, "I need to know if anybody knows a Kevin or a Calvin." Well, the woman that was on the show, one of the hosts, she said, "Did you say Kevin?" I said, "Yeah, it could be Kevin." And she said, "Yeah, I do know a Kevin." I said, "Okay, I do believe this is for you because I hear your voice now, and I know it's for you because he's calmed down." I said, "There's a man here, and he's showing me things. He's showing me 6 red roses, a red tie, and he's in a suit, and he's showing me really shiny shoes. I said, but the last thing he's showing me is it's a butcher block. And I said, can you please tell me what the butcher block is? And she starts to cry. I mean, she's bawling. She can't even get her breath in. And she said, oh, my God. She goes, I cannot believe that I have been around psychic and mediums for all day, for 2 days, and none of them have for any of them. And I'm talking to you, and he came through. And she goes, I said, well, what does the butcher block mean? I was so antsy to hear what the butcher block meant, you know. And she said, well, she goes, I dated a guy named Kevin. He was in the service, which that explains the shiny shoes. Their last date was on his birthday, and she bought him a red tie. And he brought her 6 red roses, and he was wearing a suit. And the butcher block was the restaurant they ate at.
Awesome.
So we were all crying. I was crying. She was crying. Everybody was crying. It was great. It was great. But that's the kind of things that I get that I can't explain what it means until I tell the person and they tell the story. And then it makes sense to me, and it's just like, oh, and I'm just on that high, because I made her happy. But I had to give her a message, and the message was, he told me, he goes, she didn't see me at the funeral. And I said, you didn't go to the funeral, did you? And she said, no. And he said, he didn't want you there. He wants you to see him the day that y'all had y'all's last date. And I said, he passed away with a brain tumor, because that's what I'm getting. She said, oh, my God, yes. And, we went on and talked about him for a little while, but everything was accurate. And it made her feel good.
Tracy, I have a question for you.
Sure, Amy.
As my fellow lady. What do you, I've heard this a lot, and I wanted to get your intake on what you feel about when people say things like this. Actually, George and I have had these conversations. And how do you feel, whether it be a psychic, medium, healer, whatever it may be, when there are people out there that start giving their accuracies and give a percentage on their accuracy on their work that they do? How do you feel about that?
I don't feel we need to give a percentage. I had somebody that used to give percentages, and I think, why are you, she's 98% accurate. How do you know that? You know what I mean? It's like, don't even go there. Just say I'm accurate. Don't say I'm 98% or whatever. I don't really care for it. I don't like it. I mean,
I don't like it either, because you know what?
Don't put me on a scale, because I don't want to be on one.
When someone sits there and tells me, when they have, like, on their website or whatever they're doing for their advertising, and you see, she is 100% accurate. I'm like, damn! There's somebody perfect out there.
Proof. Are they keeping tabs on it? Like, really? Are they keeping tabs?
Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know that's 100% accurate? There's not one perfect person in this world.
No, because we do get stuff wrong. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I have gotten stuff wrong, and not saying that it's wrong. It's just wrong for that person. Not saying that the information I'm getting was wrong. It's just I didn't give it to the right person.
Or it could be that it hasn't happened yet either.
Correct. Yep. It could be. Yeah. But yeah, I see what you mean, Amy. I don't like that.
I hate it.
I want to just quick interject here, because also with us is Mr. George Lopez.
George Lopez.
Good evening, George.
What's up, George?
I work in a strip.
We got everybody online.
I work in a strip club. I'd like to ask the psychics about my personal and career. In one word, are they going to clash?
Oh, dear Lord.
Strip club. You couldn't handle a strip club.
Oh, on the contrary.
Is this a question
from goodness. But, yeah, George and I have had a lot of conversations about, people understanding what we do and how we do things. And, and we were just talking about skeptics today, on how I respect skeptics because, it's kind of what keeps things going, keeps things real, and people just don't fall for anything that people say. There's people out there that are paying thousands of dollars for these people because they think they hold all the answers. And it's something that it just makes me sick. But
my own husband is a skeptic.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are, Like, I just called George the other day. There's two things that happened to me.
Skeptics. Come on with it.
Oh, I love them too. Like, listen, 2 days ago, was it 2 or 3 days? 2 or 3 days ago, I called George, and I'm like, oh my God, you'll never believe what happened. I'm like, I'm watching. I love Long Island Medium. I just love that show. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching on my computer. So I go out into the kitchen for a little break to have, a little snack. And I'm sitting there, and like my focus isn't on anything. I'm relaxed, and I'm hanging out at home. I'm just chilling. So next thing I know, all of a sudden I hear out of nowhere, "Tell me I'm not invisible." I'm like, huh? Like out of nowhere. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, and I said it in my head, okay, you're not invisible. And I heard, no, you need to tell him. So I look off to my right, and I just like kind of sarcastically say, you're not invisible. And then I said, no sooner than I turn my head down to the left, I look over, I hear something over to the right. I instantly turn my head over. I shit you not, there goes a man, not fully formed, as he walks across, floating across my living room floor. And I looked, and it literally scared the bejesus out of me because I was not expecting it, and it was in my house. So I'm like, geez, and the only thing I could think of to say was, really? Really? I'm like, what was that? I'm like, oh, my goodness, because, it does, even though you work with them each and every day, it still startles you, like, when you're not expecting things. And, I mean, I saw from head to shoulders down, down. I couldn't see the feet because it was a drop. There was a step down. But, I had that happen, and I'm going back to my room. I'm sitting there thinking, shaking my head, going, oh, my God. I'm like, what? And I'm like, now I got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, do I got to worry about something going and peeking around the corner whenever I go to the bathroom? I'm like, because I was kind of, upset because I'm like, who the hell is this? So not knowing who it was because, I mean, I'm serious. Any of you people that would sit there and literally turn around and see somebody, a stranger, let alone it's not physical, walking through your living room. I mean, anybody would about crap their pants.
Yeah.
So I found out.
Bathroom.
Yes, yes, and I did need to go to the bathroom afterwards. So I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, well, who the hell is this? Because I'm like, man, you got to leave. I'm like, that's just uncalled for. That's the stuff. And I'm like yelling out into the air, like that's the stuff I'm talking about. I said, I don't like surprises. Don't give me any surprises. But the spirit that it was, it was later validated for me because I spoke with my mother because I kept hearing Jimmy's uncle. And I know about like 4 Jims right off the bat, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, and then finally I saw my mom's husband's face. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, so this is how the connections are going. I'm like, okay. So it has something to do with my mom's husband. Okay. Well, then all of a sudden I just hear left and right because I told everybody I'm very clairaudient. I keep hearing, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm so sorry. He wouldn't even leave until he got his apology out. And I'm just like, all right. I'm like, I'll be okay. Just who are you? So he told me that he was Jimmy's uncle, and I said, okay. He kept telling me, you don't understand how special you are. You don't understand how special you are, and yet I have to tell you, I did not mean to startle you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Meanwhile, I'm seeing movement in my room. I'm like, okay, well, now you're in my room. I'm like, okay, seriously, dude, you really need to go. And he's like, okay, I just wanted to tell you that I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. So the next day I call my mom. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I was hearing that, your husband has this, because I've never met that side of the family, so I have no idea who they are. And I'm like, does your husband have an uncle that just recently passed away I said I got the name Robert. And then she went and, of course, asked him, and, you know, because she said she only met him twice. And of course, she validated for me, yes, he did just die a few months ago, and his name was Bob. So I was like, cool. I'm like, well, now at least I know who it was. But, I mean, it's awesome to get that kind of validation. But when you see things, like you know, it takes a little bit. Everything's kind of like a puzzle. And even whenever I was talking to George, whatever day that was, the same day, I was telling him, I said, you know, I'm looking out my window, and Tracy, have you ever seen a portal?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've actually been in one.
You've been in one? Like, is it the one that I saw? Okay, well, this one that I saw, it was outside, and I've always wondered with the property and whatnot, because it's a lot of Indian ground and what it used to be. And there's always been activity at the back of the house. Remember, like I was telling you about the tree in the front and then the property having stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I always thought that there was a portal in the back of the house, like in between the garage and the house. And here I was sitting there the one day, and I'm looking out, and I'm like, oh, my God, what is that? It looked like a big transparent oval, like just that's all it was. It was just a big oval, like egg-shaped almost. And I heard that you'll never see this again. And I was like, well, what is that? And I was told it was a portal. So, and it moved. At first it appeared on the left side of the window, and then the second time I saw it, because it was only twice, the second time it appeared just a little bit over to the right. So it had moved within 5 to 10 minutes of me doing anything. Because, I mean, I'm sitting there looking, going, George. I'm like, he's like, what? I'm like, I'm seeing something right now. But I wanted to ask you too, Tracy, like if they've ever looked to you like that, or if it was something different.
No, kind of, but no, not really. So you saw something in the portal? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I just saw the opening, the doorway.
Oh, the opening. No, it's not. Kind of more like a.
Okay, I could say.
To me, it's like, you know, when you drop something in the water, and the water has the ripples. It ripples.
See, that's why I was a little amazed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know,
so
I'm seeing it visually, but it's really not. You know, it's like if I'm looking at the floor and I'm seeing it do that, I know the floor is really not doing that. You know what I mean? I know that it's actually something happening paranormal.
Like that's why, because
so
it was
I know
outside
that
the
I
window.
I know that I can step in it and I won't fall through. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Because this is like an egg-shaped form, so like I just wanted to ask if you do that.
Well, I
but
think they come in all shapes.
I think they do.
I mean, yeah, I do believe that. The one that I seen was on the floor.
Okay.
And it was in my house, actually.
Okay, so then it does happen in and outside the house. Okay.
Yeah, mine was in the house.
So when you step inside those things, do you get like a weird, odd feeling, like you're gonna?
Yes. Well,
I would never step inside it.
My hair stood up. My hair stood up on my arm. I felt real jittery, like excited. I mean, I'm getting that way sitting here talking about it. I'm kind of shaking a little bit when I'm thinking about it, because that night a lot of stuff came through on this little girl, and when I get major things, stuff that is very important. And I know that it's very important, and I need to listen and write it down because I know that it's going to come out later. Things like that happen. But, psychic and mediums can open up wormholes. I mean, that's how we get information. Let me explain something. When I was little, I used to sit there and focus and think constantly, how is this happening? How am I able to hear a spirit? And I'm 10 years old, and I'm thinking, well, maybe this little hole opens, and there's a little wave that comes out of that hole, and it goes into my ear, and it's like riding a wave, and then I hear it, and then the wormhole closes. That is how that's how I believe when I was little. A lot of people that are doing research now, believe that that's how it happens, through wormholes. And I do believe that theory. I mean, I do believe it. because it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Right. I tend to agree.
If they're, how else are they able to appear? You have to be, okay, let me put it this way. If we're at Gettysburg and we are sitting there and you're able to see, them fighting in Gettysburg, but the person next to you can't, it's because you are in the throat of the wormhole and you're seeing the event as it's taking place. But the person next to you is not in vision of the wormhole, so he can't see it. It's like a flat screen TV. You're in the middle of the TV, you can see it, but if you're on the side, you really can't see what's going on. And that's exactly how a wormhole is.
Wow. Now, you know what, though?
Go ahead.
I was thinking about this, the other day whenever I saw, like you were talking about, like how it manifests and stuff and how it shows itself. When I saw the apparition in my living room, it wasn't, they usually move really fast. I mean, really fast. And because their vibrations are so high. But this one, he wasn't moving. It was as if I said, okay, you're not invisible. He's like, yes, and goes to walk away. But it wasn't as fast as it was. So, up north right at the moment, I don't know if we're in the middle of an ice storm or something that's going on, but it's going to be really cold. I mean, we're talking about in the negative degrees. So what I was wondering was, and a possibility too, something else George and I spoke about, was that the density in the air, do you think that maybe because of the difference in temperature or whatever it may be, that may actually prevent them from moving as fast as they normally do, with the temperature being...
Honestly, Amy, I don't think temperature has anything to do with it. I think it has to do with the amount of energy they're holding within themselves. And it's like some entities come out really strong, and they're very vivid. I think it all has to do with the energy that they're able to get to be able to manifest that way.
Yeah, because
could weather have something to do with it? Yes, it could. It could help them. They could use, like if it's lightning, they could use that energy.
Like the dense of the more dense of like the snow, like I don't know if this will make sense, but with the water turning to ice, and it makes it's just the different, I don't even know if I'm
molecular density.
Yeah.
Well,
I think water has a lot to do with getting visions and information. When I'm around water, that's when I have to really really pay attention because the energy is so strong, and I usually feel a lot more. It's like what happened at Ruby Falls. But once I hit the fall, I could not go to the water. I had to go sit down, and then I had to run out of the cave because I got sick because it was so emotional. And the feelings were so overwhelming because there was like 50 people there. So I'm getting all this information, plus the information that's coming from the land and the water. It's like the little girl that came to me, that was murdered. I was actually taking a piss on the toilet while I'm getting all this information because I'm around water, But I'm honest. I'm just telling you that's what happened. And I'm looking down at my floor, and there she is on my floor. I see her face. She's waving at me, and she's telling me all these things. So I asked my husband at the time to get me a piece of chalk, and I wrote down everything I got on that concrete floor. And, it was very strange. But, I mean, water has a lot to do. I think when we're around water, we get more information.
Yeah.
You said running
water. I'm curious. I just wanted to ask, kind of talking about the information coming in and things. Tracy, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I just kind of wanted to get all your thoughts on this then about I had mentioned earlier, Amy, that about once or twice a year, so it's not very common, but once or twice a year I will wake up, and it's not that I'm dreaming about this person or anything, but I will wake up and there will be a person standing in the room, usually next to my bed or at the foot of my bed. And over time I've learned, it doesn't freak me out as much as it used to. But
Can I
kind of
ask
curious
you
about the
something?
whole. Yeah, go ahead.
Do they have a face?
Yes,
They do
I
have
could draw
a face.
their.
Okay.
I could draw at least several of their faces. Kind of the criminal sketch.
Is there one
artist
that you
thing or
dream
something.
about that don't have a face?
There is a weird one. I'll tell you this story quick. I think we have enough time. This is the freakiest one I had, and I probably would have given my mother-in-law a heart attack. It was when my wife was in the hospital. She was in the hospital about 2 weeks before we had the quadruplets. I'm sleeping, not having a bad dream or anything. I'm actually facing the wall, and I'm woken up by a voice saying, "Wake up, they're coming." And I whirl around, and in my doorway is a man in a police outfit that I can make his face out, but tons of people behind him, none of them had faces. This one scared the crap out of me. My whole lungs filled up with air. I was ready to start screaming my head off, and then it all kind of vanished. But I wasn't, freaked out or anything when I woke up or even startled facing the wall. I just kind of rolled around and saw that. That scared the crap out of me.
I'm going to tell you something. You need to pay attention to your dreams, and you need to keep a notebook, and you need to write the stuff down. Because I think that you get a lot of information, and you really don't know that you're getting it. But I think you need to pay a lot of attention to your dreams.
Okay. Well, I have it. That's where I was going to ask a lot about you. I'll offline. I'll send you some more info because I've had some other weird dream ones that it's always made me wonder if information's coming through that way because I've had a number of people that have passed in dreams with very odd things that happen.
I had a wet dream once that I drowned a mermaid.
George, wrong show, hon.
Sorry.
Hi.
All right. Tracy Todd. So I'm at least keeping this straight. I know you had a question as well.
Well, I did, and actually I have two, and this one comes from somebody that just messaged me, so don't shoot the messenger. They're curious if any communication on certain wants and desires stay the same after death, such as sexual ones, you know what I'm saying, like if it's a female talking to a male, if their desires are still the same as they were when they were living.
I know mine will be. Yes, I do. I'm just going to say it. Yeah, I do believe it. I mean, have you ever got a EVP where a man and woman's having sex? Think about it. Some people have.
Mm-hmm. Miss Molly, I've heard EVPs.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're living just as we are.
I mean, if you believe in the different planes of existence, you know, just with the whole wormhole theory thing, sure, why not? Why not they having sex on the other side? Wouldn't you want to?
Depends what I was doing.
We'll get into more detail about all of that later. At a later.
You know?
Yeah, we're absolutely going to. I'll let you get the second question in here, Tracy. But yeah, we absolutely have to do a follow-up show here. But go ahead.
The second question is this: if me being a leader of a paranormal team, I get often asked right before we do an investigation in an email or whatever of these clients going, I get a feeling, I sense things, I see things that other people don't see. Is there somewhere or something that we can tell them or send them somewhere to maybe get help with this? Because, I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I don't know.
How do you know that? How do you know that? If you're getting information, how do you know you're not a psychic medium?
No. I'm not saying I'm getting it. I'm saying that the client, like if I'm talking to the client on the phone, and they're saying that, I see things other people don't see, so on and so forth, on and on and on. I don't know that for sure. So
right. Gotcha.
There's somewhere where I can send them, or, you know what I'm saying? Or what should I tell them to do?
I mean, if you have someone that's having problems and you think are having psychic, medium abilities, then there are a lot of psychic mediums out there now that don't mind talking to others. I don't. I mean, I give my email address to a lot of people, and if they have questions, they can contact me, and I'll answer them. If you come across somebody that needs help, then send them my way, because I don't mind helping them.
Tracy and Tracy, one thing too that we're going to be doing very here in the near future, I'll make this brief for you, Matt, is Amy's going to be down in my neck of the woods at the beginning of February, down for her birthday, going to get a chance to visit St. Augustine for the first time, which I think she's going to fall in love with. But on that Monday, we've been talking about this, and I think we want to make it a reality with myself and Mr. Bowler, but Amy will be here to do, for the first time in a long time, a live spirit box session again on a Monday from my backyard. Having an actual psychic medium there during the entire procedure is going to be something I haven't had a chance to do yet, actually have someone here to encompass. Well, Amy, just very briefly, talk about the I guess the amount of people that you've seen in my backyard when you've done the remote view.
Oh, geez. Well, the very first time I ever met you, when I wasn't supposed to be reading, there were tons. I told them that it looked like the Sims game, like people just walking randomly in people's yards and walking through their house and, up and down. Because I said, I'm like, your yard is fenced in, right? I'm like, because it looks like, there's all this stuff. I said, there's especially a man in the back right side of the house in the window, and he just stands there. I'm like,
wait till you go, Amy, because there's a lot of property like that. You're gonna, when I was it's gonna blow up. So be
I'm gonna be calling you, going,
you call me, girl, call me, I'll help you. Hell, I might just drive down there.
Oh my gosh, that would be so. Oh, George, it could happen.
That'd be amazing. And hopefully, the best part is that they'll all get attached to the two of you and leave my house.
Hell no.
No, I don't like attachments. Negative.
No.
I want a quick ad. I want a quick ad because we're 60 seconds before we lose the live part of this feed. I did want to quick before we get cut off here. Thank you all for being on, and we absolutely have to have everybody back on again in a show in the very near future because one, this was a great show, and two, I got about a third of the way through my list of questions. So. I want to thank all of you. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, you guys.
I see trees are green and red roses too. I see 'em bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed days, dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful